Cronulla's thrilling Golden Point win has been overshadowed by two contentious calls in relation to blockers during field goal attempts. Now, this was an interesting one. A couple of, I think, dubious decisions. I'm interested to get your take on this first one. This was given a penalty and no field goal, which would have been, I think, the match winner for Kalen Ponga. Now, I'll start us off. You can see there those two forwards there are deemed as blockers and getting in the way of Kennedy. Now, I don't know what the blockers or where they're supposed to go, those two. They're in position for their 9 if they need to get the ball. They haven't really deviated their run. They haven't taken out, I don't think, any of the defenders in that moment. And I thought this was a shocker. But I'd love to hear the opinion of you guys.
Who did they block?
Well, the argument is they blocked Will Kennedy, right?
But everybody had a chance to get to the kicker.
I don't agree with it, but I'm saying that's the argument, Gordy, right? So, I'm with you, Braith. I think those guys had the opportunity to actually take the pass. If was it Brayley, a dummy half, wanted to hit them with a pass, he could have hit them. Yeah. So they're sort of live players.
Mm. I spoke to Graham Annesley today, head of football, and he was very, very strong that the referee got this right. And he really emphasised the fact that all 17 clubs got a very strong email at the start of the year about blockers.
Start of the year or start of the week?
Start of the season.
Yeah, well, exactly. So you don't think you've seen this?
But look, the clubs are aware. I then argued with him that I don't think those blockers or decoys or whatever you want to call them had any obstruction whatsoever on Will Kennedy. Yeah. I would have been happy, even as a Cronulla fan, for that to be a field
goal. I've had
a
lot of Cronulla fans say the same thing. Now, this happened only within 2 minutes and they marched on downfield because of the penalty. Now, he had to give this penalty. You know, I believe the referee's dug himself in a bit of a hole here. You can see Kalen plays for it because why wouldn't you play for it? And that's what we're going to get now from players because of this. Now, because we weren't strong on that first call and now Annesley's backed it up, here we are, identical situation, and the Newcastle players play up to it and they have to disallow it because they disallowed the one before. But that's the only reason I believe they disallowed this one, which has really got us in a bit of a mess here. I just think it's terrible.
I don't want to see and it's an old saying, I don't want to see a grand final or a major semi-final, whatever, decided by a blocker when it's so inconclusive. And for the life of me, Will Kennedy was not obstructed. I don't care what anyone says. I've been in the control room, we've stop framed it, we've HD'd it, we've 4K'd it. I can't see a block.
And there's another issue there. Well, the other issue is that even Graham conceded today that Will Kennedy may have been...
We'll hear from Graham now. NRL head of football Graham Annesley has defended both decisions. Let's take a look.
The referee or the video referee may rule obstruction if any player from the attacking team in relation to a field goal takes up a position near the play of the ball and in the opinion of the referee obstructs defenders regardless of whether there is physical contact. All the clubs have got a copy of this. All the clubs are briefed on this at the start of the year. Obstruction, blockers, case closed. The next one for the Sharks: blocker, kicker, case closed. Obstruction.
Okay, so what stands out to me there is Graham saying that they'll neither play the ball, the blockers. I don't think they were. The issue we've had in the past is the blockers right near the play the ball and they get in the marker's way and they get into the defender's way. But in this instance, they're just in a position of attack. They're not actually in a position of block to take out anyone from the opposition. So I dispute that. Yeah. And there was an incident you were about to talk about there that Annesley spoke about in the press conference. We didn't have it there about Will Kennedy offside.
Yeah, and Graham basically conceded there was a chance Will Kennedy was offside, but they couldn't review that because the video official doesn't have the power in this situation to review offside. I think it's opening up a bigger flaw in the system, Braith. What if we get to a game and there's a guy clearly offside and we've got to review it and the video ref can't give a penalty for it? So it's opened up, I think, or shown us a flaw in the system that needs to be looked at.
So just to be clear with everyone at home, if Will Kennedy was 3 metres offside there, they couldn't rule.
Video referee couldn't have ruled on it. Couldn't have brought it back. Couldn't have given a penalty.
That's
as
silly.
I said, Graham said today there was a chance Will Kennedy was offside in this play, and the video ref couldn't look at that, couldn't make a decision on that, and ultimately it's cost Newcastle this game and their season. This has cost them their season.
But if I'm coaching Cronulla there, my two markers didn't move. They got the shortest line to the kicker. both of those markers had a clear under him. They didn't move. So Cronulla wouldn't have whinged about that play at all, really, because I don't think they were blocked.
Cronulla didn't even whinge after this. They thought they'd lost. There was no real uproar from the players. There was no, oh, he was in my way, I couldn't get to him. The referee just went out on a limb and made a call, which is okay if you make the right one. And I just can't believe that they're saying they got it right. Buzz, you had an issue with the Phoenix Crossland sin bin just before halftime?
Yeah, I did. And I hope we're going to show it here. Here it comes now. See what he's doing there? I see it all through a game, every game. There. He's not on that long, right? Why was he sin binned? Why wasn't he just penalised, Gordon?
Well, I reckon it's a professional foul. Because
But
it's
why
close
is
to
it?
the line.
Why is it not
Why?
a professional foul
Because
in the
inside
25th
the 10,
minute?
well, because inside the 10, that's what they deem. That he's
but
jumped in the
I've
play.
seen
He wasn't
play
in
the ball, so they
attack.
normally just go 6 again.
Yeah, I get that.
That was a really big
It's
call.
the consistency.
But again, I had a fight with Graham
Buzz,
about
I think
it.
what goes against Phoenix here is that it's actually it's a flop. He jumps on one, the play's dead.
He wasn't
Watch
involved.
this. See, he's tackled, flops on him. So that's already a penalty. Referee's just letting it go so that there's an advantage to Cronulla. Then he stays on him until the siren goes. So
But
there
would
is
you
there's a
agree-
hint of a professional foul there.
Would you agree
He
you've
wanted
seen
a
it?
6 again.
Yeah, but
He played for that.
I've got less.
So I
I've
don't
got
have a-
less of a problem with this.
Yeah.
For me, this is.
Yeah.
I can understand why he was sent to the
yeah, but
sin bin.
the problem we have is, and I said it early in the season, we need a summit. Wayne Bennett says we need a
You
summit.
love this summit.
We do. We need it at the end
Should
of
be
the
called
season.
the Phil Rothfield Summit.
No, it's
We're
the
gonna-
Wayne
we're
Bennett.
gonna hold it in
no,
Vegas,
it's the Wayne
Gold
Bennett
Coast.
Summit because the game now appears to be too fast, too complicated for referees and the bunker to consistently make decisions. And I'll go back to those blockers. If we forensically examined every field goal this year, we'd find a problem in most of them.
Yeah,
We would.
I agree.
Because they're coached to break the rules. Until you get all the coaches there on the same
But
page.
here we
which
got
they never
one
will be.
game where the NRL say they refereed it correctly and they're entitled to say that. We're entitled to disagree.
Okay, who's going to this summit? Honestly, I'm not geeing up. Who's going to
No,
this
well,
summit?
Wayne Bennett's first in the door. I'd hope Trent Robinson, I'd hope Craig Bellamy, and I'd hope the RLPA would nominate their foremost senior players, the Daly Cherry Evans, the Clearys.
Cool. So then,
But, and-
so you think Ricky and Ivan and Kevy and those guys are just going to, oh yeah, that's cool. You come up with the rules. We're just going to play to your rules.
No, not
Unless every
look,
coach goes there.
Look,
don't- we
you
don't-
asked me off the top. But
Yeah.
We don't need a summit, Buzz.
So
We
you're
don't need to
happy for
make-
this?
We
What are you
just
going to do with the GF?
We just need some clarity around it, but we don't need a summit.
But we're not
that'll just
getting clarity.
That'll just result in mass changes to the rules again, which is the last thing we need.
You know why we're opening the show on this topic? Because there is no clarity. There is no consistency reading. I think we need to get the sharpest minds in the game into a room and try and start with the bunker by putting 4 people in there, 2 games each, consistent decisions, rather than a dozen people.
Well, you're not going to get consistent decisions
It'll help.
with 4 different people.
But it helps. It's a better chance than having 12.
What about the blockers? We just saw a couple, obviously, in the Knights game here. Did you see anything wrong with those blockers, being a kicker yourself, being back there?
Well, the rule is they can't do it. The rule is they can't stand there and move forward. So that is the wrong call, the right call there. Right here, the thing is they can't be standing in front. They can't be moving forward. And that's the rules that are in place. So the thing is that I've got going on here is I think the NRL need to think about this is if they're going to bring this in and make it harder for guys to kick a field goal, they need to make sure that team is on side every time. It's almost getting to the point now that you need to review every field goal just to make sure that it's squeaky clean because they're going to pull up that. No one was impeded, but that's the rule.
Do you think the bunker should be able to rule an offside because at this present moment they can't?
I think it's getting to a point where every field goal, particularly in Golden Point, it's going to be reviewed absolutely. If the team's got a challenge, they're going to use it. But if not, because you have to be squeaky clean in this situation.